Chief here, and I have another thought. Today, I was thinking about sympathy, and specifically, it's based. I was influenced by this article on JSTOR or JSTORdaily.org. You know, supposedly, I mean, I guess it's this website where a lot of so-called scholars or people who have, you know, attended major universities or universities in general can write their opinions or their, you know, their scholarly articles, you know, typically with some pop culture bent, but they, you know, sometimes write about other shit, like historical stuff. But this article made me think, I was like, man, these people are out of their goddamn minds. And it's obviously liberal as hell. And they're obviously using this critical theory because that's infested all the universities, and so for somehow that's supposed to make everything deep, or like they're supposed to be diving deep into understanding. It's like, shut the fuck up. You guys are just trying to take your characteristics that you're insecure about and then try to force them onto society as normal. Oh, the new norm. Oh, the normal is so terrible. When all you motherfuckers, like Dave Chappelle came out of pussy. Shut the fuck up. You guys are just mad because your dad left because your mom was probably a whore, or your mom left because your dad was a piece of shit. Like, shut the fuck up, man. Like, not everybody thinks like you. Just because you guys have these damaging experiences. I've been damaged as fuck. Look at me. But I don't want the whole of society to pay for how I've been damaged. That's something that I have to deal with, these inner conflicts. And if I'm looking like, I always say, if I'm looking for absolution in the greater society, I'm doomed. Just like all these liberal scumbags who write stupid ass articles like this that in my estimation are fucking dumb. Or this article, I'm not going to read much from it. I'm just going to read a little bit part since I'm interested in mythology. But the first this writer, what's this fucking writer's name? Cody Delastrati. He has a fucking retarded name. That's why I was bugging with you. But I'm just going to read the first little bit of it. It's regarding Medusa. Medusa is pure wickedness, an angry misandrist. Oh my God. With venomous snakes for hair and the ability to turn a man to stone with only a look. That is, at least, how she is depicted in Thomas Bulfinch's influential 19th century text, Mythology. So too in Edith Hamilton's updated Mythology from 1942, and as such in much of contemporary popular culture. And Ovid's Metamorphosis, published around 8 CE, or the 8th century Common Era, or after Christ's death. However, Medusa, is it? Yeah. Medusa had a backstory that's often elided in modern retellings. She was attractive and innocent when Poseidon, Neptune, lured her into Minerva's temple and raped her. When Athena found out, she turned Medusa's hair into snakes, erasing her beauty. I'll just read a little bit more because this adds in all the, you know, these liberal scumbags. They gotta, you know, throw in all the everything they know about critical theory in one fell swoop. And there's nothing worse than Freudianism to me, even worse than like the critical race theory and the gender theory and shit. Well, Freudian shit is the basis for like the gender theory, I think. But like all this shit sucks. I hate it. All of it is just. Like when I was reading, like when you read Foucault and fucking Derrida and you know, all them motherfuckers, man. I can't think about Barthes and a lot of them, all them motherfuckers, man. When you read that shit, I just feel like, God damn, man. That's like, I can't believe that people see the world this way. And it's like, and nothing ever is like, they never can be self-reflective, you know. It's like with the fat shaming and like the, I'm gonna write this movie that's basically just penis envy personified. You know, instead of showing that I'm this naturally creative person who should be at the table, I should have a seat at the table because I'm naturally creative. But really they just want to come in and flip the table over and, you know, sit in the seats of the people already dining there, and pretend that the table's not flipped over. If that makes sense. Oh boy. Though Freud posited that Medusa's hair represented sexual repression, a symbol of castrated genitalia, and the madness to which that might lead a person, the poet Anne Stanford in her Women of Perseus. What? I don't think that makes sense. Generally, madness to lead a person. The poet Anne Stanford in her Women of Perseus unpacks the more nuanced psychological effects of Medusa's rape and the complications it adds to her understanding. Commenting on Stanford's work, the poet and scholar Alicia Ostraker notes in her article, The Thieves of Language, that the trauma imprisons Medusa in self-dividing anger and a will to revenge that she can never escape, though she yearns to. So Medusa was driven to be a psychopath and a degenerate because of what happened to her. And I know that happens in society too. Like, I think the hoods and the barrios and, you know, the trailer parks are all filled with people who have been through some trauma, and they necessarily have to, they internalize that trauma, and to release it, they must cause trauma on the world, and most often on the people around them in society. But to say that that's honorable, or that's some excuse for you to be demonic, or to be destitute, or be like this degenerative person who's just using their shortcomings or how they were brought up, or as an excuse to be a monster. Like, I don't think that's like, then everyone should be absolved of everything. I'm like, that's purely feminine thinking to me too. That like a lot of females these days, that's why they're so they love feminism so much, because it completely erases their accountability for anything in their lives. All their lives can be blamed upon this supposed power struggle that they have with the masculine principle, or with the patriarchy. Oh, the patriarchy, man. Oh my God, the patriarchy was invented to protect the matriarchs. Shut the fuck up. Consumed by this vengeful desire, Medusa might be not so much a monster as a tragic figure. So Medusa is a tragic figure. Just like Milton in Paradise Lost, you can read that as him saying that Satan is a tragic figure, because he was angry at the Most High for him giving humans a free will and not the angels or himself a free will. And he didn't understand why the Most High held humans in such high regard. So he felt it necessarily to not only rebel against God, but to ensure that humans are engulfed in misery until the Most High intends to intervene again, which is the coming of the Mashiach. But I don't think that's that. But that's also what's going on in the society. Like in that video, The Left Hand Path, a lot of these liberals are embracing all these, since believing in God is so-called normal. Not believing in God and worshiping Satan is what you should really do, because that's not normal. Everything that's not normal is right. Oh, since it's really not normal for a grown-ass man to want to fuck kids, or a grown-ass woman to want to molest kids, oh, it must be normal now. Oh, it's normal to want to fuck kids. You know, it's really simple. You know, it's very, very simple. They're just being inherently refractory for no reason. You know, like, it's just like, oh, I just have to be antithetical to everything that's so-called normal. Normal based upon my conception of the world, even though I'm a spoiled brat in these institutions, probably from some bourgeoisie, upper middle class to high class family who was allowed in these universities because number one, my family could pay for it, but number two, because I had the privilege of being educated in the society in a way that didn't relegate me to the awful public school system, which ensures more than anything that the kids in the society are moronic Well, no, the parents ensure that more than anything. But the school system does not help at all. Especially when they're the glorified babysitters in a society where both parents have to work to survive in a system that the elite have ensured is untenable, is almost unlivable for society. And that's one thing too, man. I can never get over this, man. All these companies, I have a rainbow flag, Black Lives Matter. Oh man, trans lives matter. Oh, maps. Oh, we gotta support the pedophiles now. Oh, the fucking everyone, support everyone. When they can't even pay a livable wage. They can't even bring jobs back to the United States that'll help society understand, give people a little bit more sense of purpose. Maybe lessen the work week hours. Let people pay a living wage so people can actually invest in their communities and their societies. But really what they want is just a power grab. These people want power and they want undue influence on the people in society because they're, number one, sociopaths. They want to do their crazy ass experiments on us. And number two, they're just power hungry, greedy motherfuckers. This video's all over the place. I don't give a fuck though. When depicted as holy and unchangeable evil, the classic monsters of literature and myth help make sense of a complex world, often with biblical clarity and simplicity. So the Bible is simple to these scumbags, and they always gotta attack the Bible. The existence of pure evil implies the existence of pure good, heaven or hell, the light side of the force or the dark side, Mount Olympus or Hades. The idea is that though we must choose a direction, it's a straight and clear path. So what these motherfuckers are saying that you should go on the left-hand path, and that is a path, even though it may be chaotic, that path should be acceptable because number one, it's not normal, and number two, it may just be you doing what you want, do what thou wilt, don't follow these paths of goodness or righteousness, infect and effect the society however you want to, in disregard to your neighbors and to everyone around you and your family. It's all about who you want to be. Oh, just behave how you want. Take a gun and go into a supermarket even though if you were raped like Medusa, and just justify it. Oh, it's justified to us even though we hate guns. Hey, that's how I look at it. They'll justify it. I bet you if a mass shooter is a woman and she says she was raped, or there was a trans person and they said that they weren't accepted in society, they would accept that mass shooting and they would disregard it. Just like the nigga in Kenosha, is that Kenosha? No, was that and whatever that city was where the nigga ran over all them people. Like, it's being accepted because of some historical historical shortcomings or historical oppression, that he should be able to do something as heinous as that. And for me in my heart, I mean, no matter who, if innocent people are being killed like that, like, how can you justify that? It's not justifiable. The person who's inflicting any of that pain, I don't give a fuck what happened in your goddamn life. If you're inflicting that kind of pain on the innocent, you are just an irredeemable piece of shit. And anybody who is defending stuff like that is the same way. They definitely have to question who they are. Especially if you're trying to ascribe certain things to everyone and not giving anybody a chance for redemption, or even people are not even aware. There may be, that you benefit from white supremacy, when these globalists are ensuring that nobody's benefiting from anything. Even though I will agree that white people do have a little bit of a leg up in the society. And I'm not fucking here to stomp the foot for white people. What I'm saying is that, hey, this shit is coming down on all of us. They're eliminating the middle class, which means everybody's going to go into the lower class. And guess who's at the bottom of the lower class already and who's going to get stomped into the dirt more than they already are. So we better start figuring out ways to combat these things more than just waiting for the government to let critical theory from the white supremacist liberals, who actually have not our thoughts in mind, as just a way for them to obfuscate responsibility. I don't understand you know, I don't understand it. It's all over the place. You know, I got to write this shit down, but, you know, think of who you will of me for that, because, like, we are letting pure evil persist based upon some kind of really very arbitrary understandings, and we're not getting to the heart of things. That dude is probably, he looked crazy as cat shit in his mugshot, who ran over all them people, and but we want him ascribed to who we are as a people and how we should combat, you know, what happened to our ancestors in the past. I'm not sure about that, especially if motherfuckers only, you know, supposed remedy is reparations, whether that come in land, cash, or both. You know, I'm not sure if that's it either. Especially when I think that, personally, that we may be paying for our how we have always strayed. Our people have always strayed from the Most High. But that's another video for another day. Call me light-skinned coon. I knew those light-skinned niggas. They're always light-skinned niggas always are on both sides. Shut the fuck up. God damn, niggas are corny sometimes. But where was I at? Until the Enlightenment, this one-sided view of monsters, the Enlightenment, that was the beginning of the destruction of the Most High, because those Enlightenment values, they knew who they were, even though a lot of black people were you know, had a big voice and were, you know, staunch advocates of the Enlightenment, as we always have. We've always been, you know, questioning the Most High and worshiping all these gods and all this stupid shit. Until the Enlightenment, this one-sided view of monsters was rampant. The word monster is likely derived from the Latin monere, which means to warn, writes the scholar Stephen Fox in Rutgers University's The Scarlet Review, as in a warning from God that to deviate a little from norms is to deviate entirely into the realm of evil. So, killing people is deviating from the norms. And it's okay because it's deviating from the norm. What is this person trying to say? Killing people isn't evil? A monster, so a person can't be a monster. Like somebody who's just, and I'm not talking about this Jordan Peterson monster where you're supposed to, you know, harness the monster within you and channel it into a direction that's positive. These people are literally monsters who are taking their ugliness or something, their bitterness, something that has happened to them. And I'm not, again, I don't support bad shit happening to people, especially when they're innocent, especially when they're children, especially when they're just trying to enjoy themselves out and about. Now some motherfucker sprayed the crowd and we gotta fucking find some sympathy for him. Somebody ran over a lot of people, we gotta find some sympathy for him. Like we gotta look into him. Oh, it's deeper than that. Oh, he had mental issues. Oh, he had no friends. It's like, oh, come on. It's swinging the other way. Like, I remember people used to complain about everyone saying a school shooter's a lone wolf and how they try to sympathize with him, or the media tries to empathize with him in some way. Now we're doing it for everybody, for every single degenerate situation out there. And it's because of this liberalism that thinks that they can deconstruct everything in society, and that for some reason that deconstruction is necessarily good and beneficial and not just some excuse or some, you know, time-wasting mechanism, you know, or some measure in pedantics. I don't know, is that a word? Oh boy, I'm out of my mind. The notion of total evil is an inherently Old Testament one. You either adhere wholly to the commandments of God and make the correct sacrifices and go to heaven, or you do not and you go to hell. So, this guy says it's wholly an Old Testament, but he's using Medusa and Greek mythology, which is based upon Assyrian or Babylonian mythology, which all supposedly is supposed to predate the Bible. So it's an Old Testament understanding, when even they use those tales. Most of the time they use ancient mythology, not only because they worship those gods, but also to order their society, because they did have an understanding of quote-unquote good and evil. These people, they just attack religion for no reason. I mean, not specifically religion, specifically the scriptures. And they're very limited, lowbrow, just simpleton take of what the scriptures are, because they have a general idea of what the scriptures are, because the scriptures order society in the way that the Most High knows that it should be, and if we follow the scriptures, it actually, society would be a little bit more orderly. A lot more people would probably be getting that ass whooped. But our diets would be better. Our families, I bet you our family structure would be better. We would treat people better. I bet you it would be way better if we ordered the society in the way of the scriptures. But maybe I'm just one of these, and start with the family though. Start with the family, not the whole society. I think we start with the family. If we order our families in a certain way, then we can bring that out to society, because society always brings with the foundation of the family. And we wonder why this family's, our society is so chaotic, is because, again, the family has been destroyed and ascends into chaos. So if the family's chaotic, society's going to be chaotic. And it's going to be stupid motherfuckers, fake intelligent motherfuckers like who write shit like this, who are looking for any angle to say something deep or elucidate some other understanding that people may not think about, when actually people have already made excuses for monsters throughout all of time. Shut the fuck up. Old Testament. The notion of total evil is an inherently Old Testament one. You either adhere wholly to the commandments of God and make the correct sacrifices and go to heaven, or you do not and you go to hell. So I'm just going to go down to the bottom. And actually, no, what I really wanted to use this for is because what the liberalism is doing now is trying to, descend our society into communism, where we actually all should be equitable, when there is no equity that will be attained in this society, because communism is a way of governance, I guess, that must be forced upon a society. Because if you let society operate naturally, even though I would argue that capitalism isn't necessarily a naturally, doesn't allow for the best natural selection either, especially capitalism is actually put into motion by a lot of elite families, who are the ones who are the business, the people who control all the businesses, and actually are the ones who are able to create the factories to get us into this capitalist mode, and to, really ensure that the United States wasn't an agrarian society, or at least half agrarian, half fucking, industry. Which is, some people argue what the Civil War could be about on a very, very base level. Even though it's more about like the international bankers going into the South and trying to, because the South wasn't going to be one big continent. It was going to be a whole bunch of individual states or commonwealths or countries, I guess. And the international bankers wanted in on that to, put those new states into debt. And that's another video for another day. But and that's why Judah P. Benjamin, or whatever, the second in command in the brains of the Confederacy, what was he? And who are the international bankers? Who are the international bankers? Oh man, they're about to get all them poor white farmers, man. They're gonna do all them motherfucking rednecks, man. But anyway, but Mao and Stalin, these people's idols. Castro, motherfucking Hugo Chavez. And I'm not saying that these people didn't, especially Hugo Chavez and Castro, they didn't try to do some good things. But overall, if you look at the condition of their countries, maybe we can blame it upon the United States and the Western powers. Or maybe we can blame it upon communism, which is just absolutely untenable, especially when power congregates, I guess, at the top of society, because you have to be able to enforce the equity that you want. So when anybody's calling for equity, it's usually the bourgeoisie people who believe that they're going to be in the upper echelons of society, controlling all the plebs, all the people who they are forcing to be equitable with the same money, the same amount of money, the same education. I mean, we're already equitable in education in this country, because man, our education system is trash. But that's really what this article is really trying to, because all this critical theory is about implanting things in your brain like Inception, so that you can enact these things on your own. So like you can justify your own bad behavior because that based upon like some incidents that you think or your place in the hierarchy of power that the critical theorists have posited is why the society is what it is, and they're not necessarily wrong about that. But there is definitely more nuance to it than what they believe, and that the capitalist system actually is the best bet for a lot of us to actually get out of our lot in life, and for us to descend back into communism. And that's actually what the vaccinated thing is. It's for these people to actually get into their heads, even though this vaccine has proven not to work, and they've all admitted it. Everyone's admitting it. The masks don't work. The fucking vaccines don't work. Social distancing doesn't work. Nothing that these people are imposing works, but they're still following it because people do have this mass formation psychosis where they're going to ensure that the unvaccinated are treated just like those in Stalin and Leninist Russia, who were the ones, the farmers and the so-called, I can't remember, I don't know. I can't remember all these fucking names off the top of my head. The people who they felt, the business owners and the landowners, the people who they felt were enacting some sort of power over the people, over the poor people, made sure that they were the ones who were murdered, or made sure that they were the ones who were starved to death. Even though a lot of the other people who were so-called poor and equitable now starved to death. They equally starved to death, as people like to point out. Or like in Mao, China, where they killed over 100 million of people is probably a low estimate in my estimation, especially considering how populous China is and how underdeveloped China was back then, and how vast it is, and how a lot of parts of China today are still underdeveloped. So there's people spread around all of China, and they're not. I think that these numbers are just nice estimates, and if these numbers are just estimates, man, I bet you the real numbers out of this goddamn world. But being unvaccinated is the pretense to being treated like a second-class citizen. And the vaccinated, even though all of these people who are vaccinated and are proposing that it's good for society and that you have to do it, I mean, maybe that's the equity they want, that everyone has equally chosen to do the same thing that just seems to not be working at all. You know, but at the same time, they want to be able to feel superior to those who haven't chose to do the same thing that they've done. They want to be able to have an excuse to be a monster against the unvaccinated. They want to have an excuse to be able to, you know, release the cognitive dissonance, the dispute in their minds, the conflict in their minds that is, you know, enrapturing them. And they think that if they get rid of the unvaccinated, if the unvaccinated are out of society, that society will go back to normal, when in actuality the elites do not plan on society ever going back to normal. They benefited too much from this, and this actually was their plan. This is actually their plan. This is what elites have done throughout all of time, influenced and you know, possessed by the same demonic forces, by Satan. You know, all wishing for the enlightenment of Lucifer. You know, the divine triune, not the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit, which is another video for another day, but of the Mother God, the Father God, and the Divine Son. Oh man, that's all over the place, but there is no excuse to be a fucking monster. Zero excuse to be a monster. Zero, because if there was an excuse to be a monster, I wouldn't be using my words to chastise or to demonize people or to fucking, you know, criticize people. I would be using a lot more shit than that based upon, you know, how I can perceive how I grew up and my lot in society. Not now. You know, I'm pretty content with who I am, and the Most High has blessed me to be this far, and He actually blessed me to actually understand my past and, you know, what it meant and how it made me the man I am today, and how I wouldn't be the man who I am today, who's someone who I, you know, love, who I'm growing into. About what happened to me in the past, you know, and a lot of people can't think that way because they need popular opinion or they need some outside force to validate their existence, when the only outside force I need to validate me is the Most High. You know, and it helps that my family does too. Anyway, that's my thought of the day.